You trust your tea, it feels clean, it feels healthy, it feels safe. But what if most tea brands are not what they claim to be? I looked deeper into the tea industry, and what I found was unexpected. Because in the end, only two brands were actually worth trusting. Plastic tea bags are not as safe as you think. Plastic tea bags look clean, modern, and premium. Many people believe they are safer than traditional tea bags. But some of these bags are actually made from plastic materials like nylon or PET. When you pour hot water into your cup, the heat can affect not only the tea leaves, but also the bag itself. Under high temperature, these materials may begin to break down at a microscopic level. This means tiny particles can be released into your tea, particles so small you cannot see or taste them. Some studies suggest a single plastic tea bag can release billions of these particles into one cup, and while the long-term effects are still being studied, scientists have already found microplastics inside the human body, which raises concerns especially for people who drink tea every day. This does not mean tea is unsafe, but it does mean the type of tea bag you choose matters more than you think. Paper tea bags may contain hidden chemicals. Paper tea bags seem like the safer option. Many people assume they are completely natural and chemical-free, but the reality is not always that simple. Some paper tea bags are treated during manufacturing to make them stronger, more durable, and resistant to tearing in hot water. This process can involve chemicals or additives used to improve texture and performance. In some cases, a small amount of plastic or binding material is also used to seal the bag. When hot water is added, these materials may release trace amounts into your tea. You will not see it, and you will not taste it, but it may still be present in every cup. The levels are usually low and considered safe, but regular exposure over time is something many people do not think about. This does not mean all paper tea bags are harmful, but it does show that not all of them are as pure as they appear. Choosing simpler and less processed options can make a difference. Cheap tea bags are made from low-quality dust. Cheap tea bags may look convenient and affordable, but what is inside them is often very different from what people expect. Instead of whole tea leaves, many low-cost tea bags use what is known as tea dust or fannings. These are the small broken particles left over after higher quality leaves are processed. Because the particles are so small, they release flavor very quickly in hot water. But this also means the taste is often weaker, less complex, and sometimes bitter. More importantly, these smaller particles have a larger surface area, which can make them more likely to absorb residues during processing. This does not mean all cheap tea is unsafe, but it does mean the quality is usually lower, and what you are drinking may be far from real whole leaf tea. Choosing better quality tea can make a noticeable difference over time. Flavored tea is not always real tea. Flavored tea sounds fresh, fruity, and natural, but not all of that flavor comes from real ingredients. A cup that tastes like peach, lemon, or berries may not contain any real fruit at all. Instead, many flavored teas rely on added flavor compounds designed to mimic the taste and aroma you expect. These flavors can be labeled as natural or artificial, but in many cases they are processed and refined far from the original source. This is why the smell can be strong and the taste can feel intense from the very first sip. It creates the experience of real tea without always using real ingredients. This does not make it automatically unsafe, but it does change what you are actually drinking, because what seems like a simple cup of tea may be closer to a flavored product than real tea leaves. Some tea leaves may contain pesticide residues. Tea leaves come from large-scale farms, and like many crops, they can be exposed to pesticides during cultivation. These chemicals are used to protect the plants from insects and disease, but small amounts can sometimes remain on the leaves after harvest. This is known as pesticide residue. Before reaching the market, tea is usually processed, dried, and tested, and most products meet safety standards. However, the concern is not always about one cup of tea, but long-term exposure over time, especially for people who drink tea every day. the levels are generally low and considered safe. But the presence of residues still raises questions for many consumers. This does not mean tea is harmful, but it does highlight the importance of sourcing and quality, because not all tea is grown and handled the same way. Bottled tea is far from natural. Bottled tea may seem like a quick and healthy choice, but it is often very different from freshly brewed tea to extend shelf life and maintain flavor. Many bottled teas go through heavy processing. They may contain added sugar sweeteners or preservatives, along with flavoring to enhance taste. This means what you are drinking is no longer just tea, but a manufactured beverage designed for convenience. Even versions labeled as natural or lightly sweetened can still include ingredients that change the original profile. The taste may be smooth and consistent, but it often comes at the cost of freshness and simplicity. This does not mean bottled tea is harmful, but it does mean it is far from the natural drink many people expect. Brewed tea and bottled tea are not the same experience. After everything you have seen, you might be wondering, is there any tea that is actually safe? The answer is yes, but not many. In fact, out of all the options on the market, only a few truly stand out. These are the types of tea that keep things simple, no unnecessary processing, no hidden materials, no misleading labels, just real ingredients and a cleaner way to enjoy your tea. If you still want to drink tea without the extra concerns, this is where you should start. Loose leaf tea is the better choice. Loose leaf tea is often considered a cleaner and more natural option because it uses whole or partially broken tea leaves. These leaves are less processed, and they do not rely on sealed bags or added materials. When you brew loose leaf tea, you can see the leaves expand and release flavor slowly. This usually results in a richer and more balanced taste. It also gives you more control. You can adjust the amount, the temperature, and the brewing time. This does not guarantee perfection, but it reduces many of the concerns found in heavily processed tea bags. For people who want a simpler and more transparent option, loose leaf tea is often a better choice. Plastic-free tea bags are much safer. For those who prefer convenience, plastic-free tea bags are a safer alternative. These tea bags are made from materials like paper or plant fiber, without synthetic plastic components. This reduces the risk of releasing unwanted particles into hot water. They are designed to hold the tea while keeping the brewing process simple and clean. Many brands now clearly label their bags as plastic-free, making it easier to choose. The experience is still convenient, but with fewer concerns compared to plastic-based bags. This does not mean they are perfect, but they are a step closer to a more natural cup of tea. Now, you know the truth. Some tea looks clean on the outside, but hides things most people never question, from plastic tea bags to hidden chemicals, to low-quality tea dust and artificial flavors. Not all tea is the same, but the difference is simple. Some choices add more than just flavor. Others keep it real. So before your next cup, take a second look at what you are drinking, because small habits repeated every day can make a bigger difference than you think. Now, I want to hear from you. What tea brand are you drinking right now? Drop it in the comments. And if this video made you think differently, make sure to subscribe, because there is a lot more behind everyday products that most people never see.